tents. So like me, my boyfriend, and my daughter were in a big tent with another set of parents and their younger son who led the scout.
Yeah, yeah, that, and a lot of units do that. So you have the scouts sleeping in a tent together, and, you know, the adult pairs, you know, sleeping by themselves, but you cannot have a child other than your own sleeping in your tent.
And you have to watch out for, I heard a story a couple of years ago, but they had, two families each had a tent, and they had a tunnel
Oh.
between it, and there was some accusations made on that. And it turned out bad for the scout leader. So,
You know, and that's,
Sad.
yeah,
yeah, it is.
yeah, when, and it's all about protection. I mean, it's youth protection, but it's also
Leader protection.
yeah, exactly. So it's your reputation that you're protecting as well. It's like, it's not giving an opportunity for those accusations to happen. A guy was asking me earlier today, it's like, well, what about big cabin tents? Because like we have a huge tent and we have like 3 parents, and it's like, nope. Like, you cannot sleep in a tent with any child other than your own, period. Even if the parent is there, you can't do that. And it's for everybody's protection.
You just take that out of the equation, you have to worry about it.
Yeah, oh, exactly, yeah, it's the one less thing to worry about. Because I know that those of you who have taken scouts camping before, you know that it's, it can be challenging. It can make you a nervous wreck, you know, working out all the logistics of it. You know, it's like, okay, we gotta make sure that they have this many tents and this much food and this and this and this, and did you put the reservation in, and did you do this? So there's a certain amount of stress, and it's just one less thing that to be concerned about.
We even do that when we're transporting, like if we're taking a field trip or
Uh-huh.
something. We make sure there are 2 adults that aren't related in a vehicle, just so that there's somebody there. Like if I have my kid and her kid and a couple other kids in the van, we make sure that we have 2 unrelated adults.
Okay, that's not a bad idea. As far as the rules go, though, you're one step more protected, because the only time that you don't have to have 2 adults is when you're in a vehicle transporting. So if you're the driver of a van and you've got 6 spots, you know, 6 seat belts for scouts, you can fill it all up with scouts. But if you had like stopped someplace, then there needs to be other parents there.
Especially if you take your restroom break or something.
Yeah, exactly. But that certainly does not hurt at all.
Do you know, what about one-on-one in a vehicle? Is that, if it's not your kid, are you allowed to take one scout someplace?
No.
In a vehicle, because that's,
Actually, you have to, the two boys that are in your vehicle, one of the boys has to be your son.
okay.
Yeah, my son's gotten to take a lot of extra rides because of that.
Especially after a meeting, you're taking, one of the parents ain't there, and you gotta take one of the kids home.
Right.
Yeah.
But as long as you have your kid with you.
Right. Because we had one parent forgot to come and pick it up one night.
Oh. That's what it is. Oops. Why are we? Something else.
There's one other piece, actually there's a couple of pieces. What's the significance of 500 miles?
Half a kilometer.
Can I go around 500 miles?
Okay, it's the tour permit that you have to get.
Right.
So if it's less than, it's the local tour permit. And if it's greater than, it's the national. And you have copies of that in your, now there's one qualifier to this, and that is, it's 500 miles one way
As a surplus.
as your odometer.
Um,
As your car says, 500 miles.
I know, but I'm thinking, no, it's asking God.
Yeah. So 500 miles, one direction, within the council. So
Okay.
for most of us, you may never need to fill out a local tour permit, because all the traveling that you're gonna be doing is inside the council. Now, if however, you take the guys for a hike up Monk's Mound to Cahokia,
Yeah.
now you've gotta fill out a tour permit because you're going outside of council, even though it's just across the river.
Went 15 miles. 15 miles.
15 miles,
Had to,
and you have to get your piece of paper in
do
2
the-
weeks.
Do the paperwork,
Yeah.
because we went to Alton, and I live right near Alton.
Okay, there you go, exactly. So you've experienced this personally.
Yep.
anytime you go outside of council, you've got to fill out that permit.
But you go all the way down.
I can go down to Murray, Kentucky.
That's right, that's right. You can go, you can drive all the way to Welland or any place you want to.
The
and
Arkansas
you're
border,
okay.
Yeah.
we just came out of class and you said you go all the way down to the Arkansas border, it's still being council.
Yep.
Now, is that national once you're out of council?
Yes, 500 miles or more. Now, in our council, that'd have to be a huge council to go
Right.
down that. But 500 miles or more and going out of council, then you need the national.
Okay, but otherwise,
So usually
even if we
that's-
went out of this council, if it was less than 500 miles,
Local.
it's still local.
Yep.
Right.
It's only if we go out of this council and over 500
Yes.
miles, it's national.
Yeah, so if you were taking the guys to, on a trip to Mount Rushmore or something like that, definitely national. Or Philmont or Sea Base or whatever. Usually that's when it comes into play, when guys are planning those high adventure trips and you're going way across country, that you've gotta do the national tour permit. And any questions on that? So there's usually questions on that, but it's fairly simple. In council, don't worry about it. Out of council, less than 500 miles, local, more than 500 miles, national.
Right, because, well, I'm in the DuQuoin, in which it's Kaskaskia District.
Okay.
And everything, but we do a lot of stuff at the Red Lake, and
Uh-huh.
that's Egyptian.
Okay,
So
yep.
would still classify me going out of?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, if you go
And
outside of our
that's-
council
like you guys are
boundaries.
saying, you know, it's 11 miles for
Yep.
me.
Yeah, because I was down at
It's a
the,
bummer.
the council
Yeah,
camping
it's a-
lots
it's
of
a
times
pain.
just to go across the river.
Yeah, well, because I know we had to have the permission in order to go to the day camp
Yeah,
and stuff, so.
But if you
okay.
go to Pine Ridge, you don't need it.
Well,
Ridge
well, it was too
Right, 'cause
far
Pine- yeah,
for
'cause
us to
Pine
drive
Ridge
back up
is-
here.
yeah.
Right.
They had one.
Now, I don't know if they'd split hairs and say that if you drove outside of the council and back in the council, so maybe if you go south.
Just don't break down and
Yeah,
get on
yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
Stay in your car.
Yeah, so head down to
Don't call
55 and then
anybody.
cross over instead of going across them, yeah.
You break down, you're like, put me back in the council again.
Get out, push, boys.
But there's one other piece, if you take the guys
How do
camping.
we get the permits? Can we do it online? Can we mail it in, or do we actually have to go?
They're actually online and there's a copy of it in your packet.
You have to get it in the
Sorry.
council.
that far.
Yeah. Yeah, and all this stuff I'm talking about, it is in your packet, and there's something else in there somebody asked, at the end of the last session, and that was, well, you don't have your website, the websites are in there, on one of those pages, there's a whole list.
Yeah.
If you mail it, give it plenty of time to get approved. But if you just take it straight down to council and have them sign up on it, that you can do that the week of your camping trip, right before you leave, to get permission. Because pretty much the things that they're gonna ask you is, how many cars are driving? Are you self-driving? Are you, where are you going? Is it an approved campsite? Is it a park, something like that? Is it somebody's farm? If it's somebody's farm, unless it's something that they know about, they're not going to approve that. So if it's not a national park or a state park, you want to give it plenty of time for you to plead your case with them. So we've had that before.
Okay. There's one other piece, youth protection, the tour permits if necessary. There's one other piece that you need in order to take the Cubs camping. And that is, and most people don't know this, that one of the adult leaders needs to be outdoor trained.
Right.
And in our council, that's LOE, Leader Outdoor Experience. Most people wait until they're Webelos leaders to take that. I keep pushing for Tiger Cub leaders. Because once you've gone through that, it's like, wow, it's like it would have been great to know all these little tips before, now that I've learned them the hard way. So LOE, sometimes you'll hear Baloo, and that's basically the leader outdoor or something.
Yeah.
But for us, it's LOE. So you like LOE, they run it twice a year, springtime and fall.
I have a question on that,
Yes.
because we had